Hello, welcome to our series on Advanced WordPress Plugin Development. We will kick off by learning about the Transient API. We use Transient API to store our cache data temporarily in the database. Generally, we use an object cache to save our data. We use this cache mechanism to avoid performing same database query or making the same API calls and save time. When we make a database query and fetch the result, if the result is not going to update frequently, we can save the results from the SQL query into the cache so that we don't have to make frequent expensive data calls whenever the data is needed. Similarly, instead of database query, another example would be making an HTTP request, like fetching data from a remote API. Making a remote API call whenever the data is needed can be time consuming. So instead of making a call each time, we can save that result in the cache for a limited time, maybe 10 minutes, 1 hour, 4 hours, or any time duration based on how frequently the data updates. However, for most sites, by default, they do not have an object cache installed on the server. So instead of that, WordPress provides Transient API. The Transient API is a way to store cache data in the database. Transient API functions will save your data in the options table. We can also set an expiry time for how long we want to store the transient data in the database. Transient API may be considered as an alternative to object cache. In this video, I will give you an example of how we can use the Transient API. The Transient API provides various functions. These functions are setTransient to set the transient, getTransient to get transient from the database. We also have setSiteTransient and getSiteTransient, which can be used in multi-site network setup. Similarly, we also have deleteTransient, which is used to delete data, and deleteSiteTransient correspondingly. Let me show you how we can use these functions. I have prepared a simple example. I created a function called MLBGetLatestMovies by genre. There is a genre taxonomy assigned to the movie post type, and I want to fetch the latest movies of a particular genre. Let's say I want to fetch the latest 5 movies by its given genre term. In this function, we accept one argument, a genre term slug. We will pass this genre term slug here, and it will perform a text query and return the IDs of the posts. I'm not fetching all the post information, I'm just fetching the IDs of the posts. Assuming that we have a site with thousands of movies, filtering by the genre taxonomy would be a time-consuming or a little slower process. In this case, we can save the latest movie data into the cache memory. We can cache the data and use it to display on the front end. Because there will not be frequent addition of movies, we don't need to make repeated API calls or database queries. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Jai WordPress.